country. And of course, today I've got a very special guest. You've known him as a member of parliament. You've known him as a very prominent lawyer in the country. And of course, recently he made his intentions known about him aspiring for the highest office in the land. I'd like you to welcome Council Makebi Zulu, who's actually a PF presidential aspirant. Council, good morning and thank you for making time for us today.
Good morning and thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. I've been trying to have you on the show for some time.
I noticed. And most of the times you were calling me, I was away.
Yes. Most of the time you would be out of the country.
I was looking forward to this moment and thank God it has come.
It's finally here, and I'm also glad to have you here.
Great, thanks.
For our viewers, later on, we'll be able to allow you to be part of the show by way of calling in live. You could actually search for our Facebook page, Showsters House. Drop a comment. There are numbers on the screen. You could send us a voice note of your comments, your contributions. Make sure that those voice notes are clean, straight to the point, and let them be under 1 minute. Any voice note that's going to be more than 1 minute, we are probably not going to play it. So make sure it's as short as possible so that we can accommodate as many views as possible. Council, to begin with, I'd like to get your view on yesterday's attack on PF acting president, Given Lubinda. I'd like to find out what facts have you gathered so far as a political party, and if you have also found out who is behind the attack.
Firstly, it's beyond contestation that the attack was by UPND cadres. You may have noted from the interview by one youth chairperson right on the Copper Belt admitting that they had actually done it. So it's beyond contestation as to who did it. So in this particular case, we know who did it. We know what the intentions were, as we made clear in that particular interview, and we are waiting to see what will be done. Because this scourge of violence has not just started now within the UPND. In the last few weeks, we have seen what has been going on. The stoning of the president was by UPND cadres on the Copper Belt. Then thereafter, there were threats by Maliteta that they'll take 15,000 people on the Copper Belt. That was inciting violence itself. The next thing we witnessed people going to the PF Secretariat, causing damage to the property, and their chairperson, Iswaniso, admits that these are UPND cadres.
Yes.
And now we have this particular incident on in Central Province, the attacks on President Given Lubinda, that are quite unfortunate. So in this particular case, we do not want stories. It's not about persons that are dressed in UPND regalia that are doing it. It's UPND cadres that are doing it. The promise that they came up with at the time they were coming into government is that this was going to come to an end. But we have seen its upsurge. We have seen the violence being incited by people like Honorable Kasautu, who said Kadarism is officially back. And the next thing, he tried to backtrack. But unfortunately, the message has already gone. So those that have incited this violence, those that have participated in this violence, must be brought to book. We need to see firm action on the part of government. The statement by the Minister of Home Affairs is not enough. There's more that needs to be done to curb violence. In a democracy, we do not expect that to be happening. And it's for that reason that we keep saying, why is there shrinking space in terms of democracy, respect for human rights? The freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, these are being diminished each and every day that passes by as we draw closer to the election.
So you're not the first person I'm hearing saying that the statement by the Minister of Home Affairs is not enough and there's more that needs to be done. What are some of the things that people must begin to see being done right now for us to think, for us to be able to agree that the situation is being put under control?
Well, we need to see them condemn violence outrightly. You saw what the president said when you heard what he said just after that stoning incident. The very next day when he was addressing his cadres, he said, you remember I used to tell you not to participate in violence, but nomba vaya sana. What did he mean by that? What did he mean by that? Does it mean that he has backtracked on his word to stop his cadres from engaging in violence? Should we conclude that that's what he meant? Violence should be stopped, not because they are doing a favor to the Zambians, but because it is illegal to engage in violence. It is not a favor that he told his cadres not to engage in violence. It's because it's illegal to do so. The laws of our country do not condone violence. So it must be condemned from a legal perspective, from the fact that it is wrong, not as a moral issue to say, I'm a good person, therefore do not do this. But because legally, as a country, we've said no one should be violent against another. And that's the main reason we should be doing that. And the investigations that are being carried out by the police must be evidence-based. And so far, we have sufficient evidence that the persons that were involved were UPND cadres. We already have a witness in Lusoniso who said, those are my cadres, those are my youths, I know them. We already have a witness in that regard. So what is the delay? They need to move and curb this violence that is on the upscale right now.
One concern that will be there is that Honorable Given Lumida is a presidential aspirant, just the way you are. So like you're probably like in the same space. Do you personally feel threatened that if you go somewhere to hold like these structural meetings that you usually have, things like that may happen to you?
See, I'm not threatened by illegalities. That's what you should know. It's an illegality, and no one should be threatened by an illegality. But obviously, we'll have to take necessary measures in this particular case. I have just seen with a report from diggers where the police are saying we did not arrest the abductors because we concentrated on rescuing Given Lubinda. Does that even make sense? Should we even begin to think about it? You go past the abductors, reach Honorable Given Lubinda, rescue him, and let the abductors go. And you say, no, because of mob psychology and things of that sort. Should that be the response? Should that be a necessary response?
Do you think that would have been the case if the abductors were PF?
Certainly not. We would have seen a lot of people being bundled and getting into police custody. And that is because we have spoiled the institutions of governance. And it's for that reason that we keep calling for reforms in the police. We recently had police deputy IG behaving like a cadre, basically campaigning for President Hakainde Hichilema. It is that cadre of police superintendents or police, the leaders in police, that this is scaling down to. Because they have shown bias, they have shown their preference in a political way, the cadres think the police are on their side. They'll break the law with impunity, and the signs are being seen now. No one has been arrested over the attack on the Secretariat. No one has been arrested over the attack on Honorable Given Lubinda. But some people have been arrested for throwing stones at the president. Why did they move in swiftly when it came to the president? When the known people, as regards the attack on the PF Secretariat, as well as the attack on Honorable Given Lubinda, who have not been arrested at all. And the so-called police are saying we concentrated on rescuing Given Lubinda and we let the abductors go. It's just not making sense at all.
As we are going, you said that maybe in your space things like that could happen. What measures would you personally take to prevent things like that happening to you, especially when you move around?
Well, personal security is very important, and the law allows each and every person to be able to defend themselves, to rebut an attack. Obviously, your response must be proportionate to the attack that is coming. So we are ready to defend ourselves within the legal means available, and repel any attack proportionately.
Proportionately?
Proportionately.
If they come with a panga, you show up with a panga?
Well, if it costs for us to show up with a panga, then we do so. But the idea is to respect the law at any given time. Yes.
Wonderful. All of you PF leaders and presidential aspirants are confident that the General Conference will actually proceed at the end of the month. Yet we know that the Chavinga faction is the one recognized by the Registrar of Societies. What we would like to find out is how then do you intend to proceed, especially with injunction obtained by the Chavinga faction?
Well, As a matter of fact, we anticipate that possibly by the time we're having this convention, we'll have set aside that particular injunction, because we know that it was obtained, but there was no full disclosure on the part of the people that got that injunction. We have a matter that's ongoing in the High Court in Lusaka. They moved to Kabwe and obtained that injunction, which goes against what we already have in the High Court. We have since made an application before the Kabwe Court to discharge that injunction for failure to disclose material facts. And the material facts are that Chawinga is not the president of the party. Ngona is precluded from acting as Secretary General of the party. And the so-called convention and the appointments that were made by Mao Sampa has been challenged. Mao Sampa, in his defense, has admitted that the 23rd or 24th October 2023 conference was an illegality. What more can we ask for? So we have made that application, and we anticipate that the court will move swiftly and discharge that, so that we can go ahead with the processes of picking a leader within the party.
And if the court doesn't move swiftly, do you move the date back?
No, the idea is to ensure that this is an urgent application, and an urgent application ought to be dealt with as such. And we have faith that it should be done. It must be done. We have to preserve the democracy of this country. We can't have the executive strangling the Patriotic Front Party. We can't have the judiciary strangling the Patriotic Front Party, as well as the judiciary strangling the Patriotic Front Party. Otherwise, they would all be participating in killing the democracy.
More than 50% votes, to beat the incumbent. What gives you that confidence that you are the right candidate to beat HH in 2026 elections?
Well, we're confident because we are truthful on our part. He's not. We are practical in our approach to issues. He's theoretical.
When you say we are truthful on our part, is not, you're saying President Hakainde Hichilema is a liar?
Yes, he is a liar. Broken promises, many things that he said that have not come to fruition, and he hasn't even come back to apologize. So we have issues of broken promises. We have issues of centralization of the government. Our intention is to come and decentralize government. We have issues of heavy-handed governance on the part of President Hakainde Hichilema. These seditious laws that are being applied to stifle dissent, that's unbecoming of a government. That's unbecoming of a democratically elected government that use the same process that we all want to use to come into power. And they're trying to narrow the chances of other people coming into power. And the only reason you can do that is because you know you've not delivered. And he knows he has not delivered because all the promises that he made have not been met. Milimi was supposed to be at 50 kwacha. How much is it at? It's at 300, 350, 400. The dollar, which was at 17, is now at 22. He said he was going to bring it down to 12. The cost of fuel was supposed to be at 12 kwacha. At 12 kwacha, as he promised. How much is it at right now? All those are broken promises. Farmers promised fertilizers that they would have up to 8 to 12 bags of fertilizers. How much do they have? They're sharing in medals. Seed is being shared in cups. He promised that the cost of fertilizer would come to 250 kwacha per bag. How much is it now? It's over 1,000 kwacha for a bag. And those broken promises and those lies, those are all lies, and those are the things that need to be reversed. Over and above that, he has weaponized institutions of governance. How do you weaponize institutions of governance and make them fight against your opponents? You use institutions of governance to fight against your opponents. That is not what is required in governance. That is failure of governance. What are we going to do? The opposite of exactly what he has done. Where the cost of living is pretty much high. People expected it to be low. He promised better land. He promised a land flowing with milk and honey. But what do we have? It's bricks and pangas, stones flying all over, violence that is there. We have a very high cost of living. People can't afford to have 3 meals in a day. We end up only having 1 meal a day. Power issues. They said load shedding was going to go. In fact, during the first, amongst the first press briefings that he had, he even dared to say, how many of you are being load shedded here? Because of our leadership, we have kept load shedding, but we have the worst load shedding in the history of this country now. 21 hours of load shedding. How much load shedding did we have in PF? Only up to 4 hours. Is that the development that people voted for? Is that what people asked for? Certainly not. Industry is crashing because there's no power. And it had to take Dangote to tell the president to say the power issue is foundational to any development. And I'm sure by now they're obviously saying Dangote is PF because he told the truth as to what exactly should be prioritized. When the PF was busy bringing a ship docked in Mozambique to supply power, to support industry, they said that was a waste and that they could do better. He gave an example of Dubai, saying Dubai has no drop of rain, yet they have power 24/7. And that was going to bring the Dubai formula. Where's the Dubai formula? His Dubai formula has taken us to 21 hours of load shedding. What are we saying? We're saying these have to be addressed.
But before we talk about, because obviously you've mentioned everything else that was promised to Zambians.
Exactly.
Some of the things that have not been fulfilled.
Exactly.
I'll come to the things that you probably are going to do different. Mm-hmm. But before we go there, I'd like to invite the public. There are numbers on the screen that you could actually, give us those live calls. If you've got any contribution, please let's keep the conversation right here on things that are being talked about. Do not stray very far from what we're talking about. What are you going to do different if elected or when elected? Even as you give your answer, knowing very well that Zambians know that politicians like to, give promises that most of the times don't come to fruition. How are you going to do things differently?
Listen, in places where he centralized.
Let's start with the cost of living.
Cost of living. See, the issue of cost of living has to be dealt with depending on what is our comparative advantage as a country in terms of mining, agriculture, and all the other sectors. And the economy is always sector-driven. What sectors are we going to prioritize for purposes of improving the economy? And we're saying that, listen, you have concentrated on giving mines incentives. Why don't you give the Zambians those incentives, the tax incentives? And we're looking at provincial hubs. What is the comparative advantage of Eastern Province? Agriculture is a comparative advantage of Eastern Province. So if agriculture is a comparative advantage for Eastern Province, what are we doing about that resource in Eastern Province? How are we doing on food processing in Eastern Province? How are we doing in providing incentives for people to add value to the crop that they grow in Eastern Province? How do we increase production in that province? If it's the mining sector on the copper belt, how do we ensure that the local community participates? What we're seeing right now is that the local community has been taken away from participating in the mining sector. Taken away because all the contracts, supply contracts, are being given to possibly foreigners or those people that are coming from Lusaka and are in government or aligned to the party. And what we're saying is that when we take over government, those contracts that the locals used to enjoy and participating in the mining sector, they will have them back. They will be able to participate. They will be able to seek growth in their communities. Communities can be made to be observers as the resources being moved from their locations to other places. What is it that's going to remain in the local communities to enhance their economy in those areas? All those are the conversations that we ought to be having. In terms of
energy?
Youth, yes, energy, will come to that. In terms of youth employment, what is it that we're doing to create employment? What sectors are we going to look at? If it's the mining sector, how are we expanding? What curricula or what courses are we offering to the Zambians or to the youths in those particular areas to be able to harness the dividends from our comparative advantage? So the mining sector being improved, meaning that we have to channel human resource in that area. What have we done in the universities? Are we being relevant in our universities as regards that?
With the mining sector, you said did you mention something like giving more licenses to the locals?
Obviously, that is one of the issues that we have to look at. The way we have treated the issue of giving artisanal licenses is unbecoming of a country that wants to empower its people.
So what you're saying right now is what was told to the Zambians in 2020.
And has not been done. Instead, the opposite has been done.
So, but exactly. Then how do the same person who's listening, and how are they trusting you more than they trusted?
Because we're not liars like the current government is. We're not.
So and the only difference is you're not a liar.
And we're trying. Now, these are practical ways that we're looking at. The practical ways of looking at it is, how do we empower the locals? How do we ensure that the resource is being controlled by the locals? In this particular case, how do you, whereas we like a balance between the investors and the locals coming together and for mutual beneficiation. You can't have a larger chunk of it being expropriated to benefit those that are taking it all out. What is the benefit of the locals in that regard? How are we connecting our youths to industry? How are we connecting the education sector to industry? How are we creating these linkages that ensure that the youths do not only have this theoretical approach, but they are also connected to industry? But industry will not thrive for as long as you've not sorted out issues of power. You've not sorted out the issues of human resource that has to get in there. And that is how you create employment. Attach the education sector. That is the approach that is necessary in that regard. Yes.
You could give us those calls, or you could actually give us a WhatsApp call. We'll be able to connect you to Council Makebi Zulu. He's actually here to have a conversation with you. Earlier on, when you were explaining some of the things that are being done in the opposite as opposed to things that were promised, you talked about how the democratic process that made HH to become president is narrowing down the opponents.
Yes.
One would argue that he was treated the same way by your political party.
See,
he was not allowed to campaign. He was not allowed to travel across the country. He was thrown in jail. One would argue that was the case with him as well.
Well, we have to look at things as they are. See, whereas admittedly some things may have been done wrong, it does not mean it should be perpetuated. He was not thrown in prison for purposes of maybe someone trying to stop him from exercising his rights. We all know what happened. We all condemn what he did. But in this particular case, we're saying, okay, should you, who experienced such a thing, be the one to perpetuate it? Should you be the one to continue with that? What we want is not politics of vengeance. And we are saying that when we form government, it will not be politics of vengeance. It's time to do things in a very new way. It's time to unite the country. We can't divide the country on regional lines, on tribal lines, or on anything. We have to respect our constitution. So when a president is taking office, he's given the instruments of power, which includes the constitution, by the way, meaning that you swear to uphold the constitution as one of the things that you're going to do. That's a very basic thing that a president ought to do necessarily. So to say I'm going to abrogate the constitution because the laws were not being upheld previously is in itself wrong. It makes you no different from the former, and you should be better than that if you're going to take over the reins of power on the promise that you're going to make life better.
Council, I want us to talk about, because you brought about seditious. Some people in the country is actually divided on seditious crimes. Some people say it's like being used to cramp down on the other voice, the opposition voice.
Yes.
The opposition say, then the other people who are saying that people should not be out there, especially people with strong voices, should not be out there saying things they can't prove. Where do you stand?
See, saying a thing you can't prove and seditious practices are two different things. They're two different things. Now, you tell me, what is it that the UPND cadres are saying which is different from what people that are facing seditious practices are facing? Why is it that only those that belong to the opposition or those that do not agree with government are charged for seditious practices? Brebna Changala is in court for seditious practices. Fred Membe is in court for seditious practices. Munia Zulu was jailed for seditious practices. Mawonga was jailed for seditious practices. Binwa Mpundu is in court for seditious practices. Rafael Nakachinda is in court for seditious practices. All those examples are only pointing to those that are in the opposition, those that do not agree with what the government says. People must have the right to think. They must have the right to express what they think. Even if you don't agree with it, you have to respect their right to say it. Now, the issue is we have decided that anything that we disagree with, anything that the government disagrees with, is seditious practices. Those things do not even threaten the
allow me to bring in the public. Allow me
not a problem.
To bring the public.
Great.
Hi there, good morning. Hello? Hello?
I may use this opportunity to finish my thought.
Oh, yes.
And the idea is to defend free expression fully, not in a way that only supports a section of people. That is the idea of constitutional guarantees. It was anticipated that any successive government would stick to this code, which we, the people, have said we're going to govern ourselves by, and that we're going to allow free speech, we're going to allow free thought, and we're going to ensure that we protect freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of expression. All those are things that we must have. So criticism, opinion, and open debate will remain things that are part of society, and those should not be curbed at all. They should be followed, and people should be protected and have the right to say whatever they want to say.
I think we have...
Hello, good morning.
Hi there, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, we can hear you, your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Caller can't hear me. Hi there, can you hear me?
+260-96-188.
Hello, good morning. Hello?
Hello, I'm getting
Can you hear me?
calling from Zulu.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Maybe we just, we may need to stick to the direct calls. I think we may need to stick to the direct calls because, so see if you can give us those direct calls. There are numbers on the screen. See if you can give us those direct calls and talk to Council Zulu. So we've talked about, the cost of living, the seditious practices, as well as, the current president or governors narrowing down the list of people who would like to contest in the presidency. As we go on, Zambia's economic and debt picture worry many voters. Council,
Yeah.
what is one bold economic reform you would propose that you believe could actually change investor and citizen confidence within a single year?
See, there was a program that was started by the Patriotic Front government, and that is that the Bank of Zambia was going to be buying gold, and we're going to have reserves of gold.
Yes.
If we had done that, we would definitely have lowered our debt, because we'll have paid our debt from the gold that we cost. What did the UPN do the moment they came in? They decided to do away with that program, meaning that we do not have reserves in terms of gold. There's a $22 million plant in Mumbwa that has been built for gold processing, which is in private hands of those that are in power. That is something that government should have invested in on its own, for purposes of government being the ones to buy all the gold that is mined in this country. If we have government buying all the gold, Bank of Zambia buying all the gold, our reserves will be in terms of gold. Gold, the price of gold is at its highest right now. and it would have been a very good way for us to reserve or to grow our economy. We should have been able to pay.
So buy gold from our
all the
miners.
gold that we have, we buy it as Bank of Zambia and have reserves in terms of gold bullions. If we have these reserves in terms of gold, they can only gain in value and not lose value, meaning that we'll have surplus. We'll have a lot of money. We have a much more stable economy because the prices of gold never go too low. There's always a balance. Now it's at its highest. We need to get dividends from that. Our positioning, even as a country, makes it good. We have good rains in most seasons.
Yes.
And we have 45% of the water bodies in the region. Why don't we harness this potential that we have and become a basket for the region? We are capable of doing that, and we should be investing in that. So what we have stripped from the agriculture sector, we should instead be enhancing from it. The way we've handled the food, the farmer input support program has been very bad. It has been less than impressive. Why don't we get back to our roots and do it in a manner that benefits the economy?
Producer says there's some calls.
Yes.
Let's see if we can talk to the public.
Great.
Hi there, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're live. I would like to know your name and where you're calling us from. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, I think we might just need to, as the producer is still doing that, let me see if I can just pick the WhatsApp call. Hi there, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shosta.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Emmanuel. I'm calling you from South Africa.
Emmanuel from South Africa, please go ahead and talk to Councillor Zulu.
Councillor Zulu, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Councillor Zulu, I just wanted to say thank you that you are able to come on this platform and express your views. Sir, the other thing is, you mentioned that you are going to do exactly what. No, my question is, how are you going to do it? Because the government of the UPND, at first when they came, the reason why we voted for them is because they promised the Zambians, they promised the Zambians there will be a greener pasture.
I'm asking if we can make the questions as quick as possible so that we can allow many people to come through.
Okay, sir. My question is that when Shosta asked you, say, how are you going to make this country, take it to the next level, like the way the UPND promised the Zambian people? You answered. You said, no, we are going to do exactly what you
We said the opposite of what they have done.
We're working. And sir, to be honest, the reason why we voted you out is because we thought things were bad. So my question is, how are you going to make sure that the cost of living will come down, the economy, the rates, the dollar rate is going to come down, and you talk about agriculture, fertilizer, and everything. How are you going to make everything work? That's the question.
Okay, thank you so much for coming through. Let's go to the next caller. I think we've touched on some of the things he has asked. Yeah. Hi there. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, ma'am.
My question is...
I'd like to know your name and where you're calling us from.
Oh, sorry. I'm calling from UK. My name is Matilda.
Matilda from the UK?
Yeah.
Okay, go on, please.
Yeah, my question is, can I ask in my local language?
Please go ahead, please.
Okay. Makebi, President Wesumwa Mashuruki Mkwai.
Atwashibuka.
Question yanzi ilela indefo kwibishokwe bati ngamwa wina. Actually, mule wina wu president. Ngamwa pita bushe. Ama revenge because the revenges alingo kwebati tufikina pali inoshta. Ukwebati government ilipo ibomba sana ukufikapo nokuchita ma-promises valelanda mushe imwe nga mwaisa mupawa mushe mukalalolesha ifyo bafoma government valechita nokwamba okubachita prosecute like ifo valechita vena. That's my question. And the other question is about the mining sector. Mwalishi vaifwe country yesu tuwashimba amara pa mad resources yesu aya mining sector. Mushe mukalulekesha pokwe bati abaiche abashakwata ma skills kuba toka kwate kwa ma skills na bena bakamba okubomba wino mu mining sector. Then the other thing
Matuda,
is...
let's limit maybe we the questions so that other people can also come through.
Okay, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
thank you.
Hello?
Would you like to
Hello?
pick up that one?
Yes, let's start with this. And I did allude to this.
Just hold your thought. I think the producer has picked your call.
Okay, great.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay. It seems like it's
Hello?
changed. Please go on, Mr. President.
Hello?
So the question that Matilda asked is very important. The idea of concentration on vengeance is something that I would say I've experienced over time. I represented Rupiah Banda the time the PF came into government, and I know the extent to which concentration of vengeance can be. I represented President Edgar Chagwa and most of the eminent persons in the Patriotic Front Party. I know what vengeance is about. I represented most of the MMD people that were being prosecuted, and I know what it is about. This nation needs healing. We need to come to a place where we're going to say it is not fashionable that successive governments that live, or people that leave government should then be subjected to persecution or indeed prosecution. The president was bold enough in parliament to say we shall persecute and prosecute you, which is very unnecessary. Politics of vengeance need to come to an end. Politics of divisions need to come to an end.
You think right now there's politics of vengeance?
There is politics of vengeance, there is politics of division, there is regional politics. We need to stop this scourge, and it stops with us. If it can be done now, we have to prioritize that. This country needs healing. We can't continue on this path. We can't continue being regional in our approach to issues. We can't continue being tribal in our approach to issues. We can't continue being a people that look down on others that prosper in society. Since when did we make prospering an offense? Shouldn't we as government say, okay, this year alone, we want to make 100 Zambians millionaires in dollars? We know they may not have the capacity, but they can source outside for that capacity. So instead of giving this road to a Chinese, we'll give it to a Zambian. If this Zambian is going to subcontract a Chinese, well and good, but let's make Zambians rich. And let's not demonize Zambians for being rich, for making money. Let's give them the opportunities that they ought to be given.
If Zambians are wanting to be millionaires in dubious ways, and if taken to court, is that persecution?
Well, listen, the idea of Zambians being millionaires in dubious ways is because we have not enabled them to do it any other way. And that's why we're saying let's create an environment where we say, as a matter of policy, all government contracts will be given to Zambians. If Zambians want to partner with outsiders, let them do so, but what we must see is that there must be beneficiation on the part of Zambians. And that's what we're talking about. We're saying let's give opportunities to the Zambians. In the mining sector, as Matilda has asked, that's a comparative advantage for people on the copper belt.
Make me understand. How are you? So you're talking about giving maybe big contracts to Zambians, and Zambians can subcontract other companies.
Let them subcontract other companies. It doesn't matter where they get them from, but they will have been in control. And the reason you're going to do that is because you want transference of skills from those that are outside to the Zambians.
Yes,
Because
so
once they
can-
do that, they get to learn how it's done.
When they do a job
Yes,
fully, they will learn.
Exactly, they get to learn.
Let's include the
And
public.
that's how we empower our citizens.
Let's include the public.
Yes, please.
Hi there, good morning.
Mwashukeni
Mkwata shuka bano tulenda na nani?
mlandana ba given within Lusaka.
Wa given London na ba council.
Mwashukeni ba Makebi.
Hatwashibuka katwishwena.
Ale
Twashibuka katwishwena.
emkwai ba Makebi nachumva machirondero ko bati na cost of living na yapa mu Lusana mu UPND. Manje ukwipisha kwanda ko bati busheni tumwaye bakwechalo umutengo o pio ya leshi twapo lotomla senda ute okufuma ku MMD. Tumwaye bakwechalo okuwali umutengo wa bungalo mwasendere ute okufuma ku MMD. Tumwaye bakwechalo umutengo wa fuel na dola fio wali nefyo mwaushire. So tumone tueshe tumone nga chako bati chishinga ba PF mwali bomba bwino. Then that's my first question. Second question yako ko bati ba Makebi leadership na mufilo kusolve ishidia kushika ba lungu. Nomba, how are you going to solve a problem ya chalo cha Zambia china abantu ba 2 million abana 20 million na mfilo kusolve akantu akanono na msunge chitumbi na mtisha ku South Africa na mwera kwa imwe ngufuaya maka kupiana oyo mwashi oyo ino mwa watu mwali mutemu atala mwashika mlefu kumupiana so that wishibe ko bati butungulu shinshi uwo mlela ngishe chalo. I think if you ask my question yabiti.
Okay, tuatasha mkwai. Thank you very much.
Perhaps before we get to the next question, I think this is very important.
Okay, just take note,
Okay,
please.
great,
I've
thanks.
already picked up the next call. Hi there. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where you calling us from?
Hello.
Hello, you're live. Your name and where you calling us from?
Okay, this is Mr. Face Charles Mbewe within Lusaka.
Mr. Charles Mbewe within Lusaka.
Yes, please.
Please talk to the PF aspiring candidates, presidential candidates.
Okay, Honorable President Makebi MZ, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, please. You know, all what you are saying, I don't know, na my network, I hope you are able to get me.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Okay. So, all what you are saying, President Makebi Zulu, is that these are the things that Zambian people are going through in these communities, in these compounds. The things that you have spoken are the things that people are asking you to come and help. For the UPND government has failed to achieve these promises. Please, Honorable President, we are behind you, and the Zambian people, the youth wing in this land, are following and are really asking you to come on board the way you have come out to help them, because you understand what is within the youthful wing. The elderly people that are behind us, we are asking you to come on board. Let's support the vision of Makebi Zulu, a man who understands what is going on in this land, the man who has a vision for this land. It is not the vision for his home like we are being governed with this current government. No, it's the vision of the land, the vision which is being understood by each and every well-meaningful Zambians. Honorable President, we are behind you and we shall fully support you as youth. Please be safe and be protected. Remember,
Let's keep the speeches short. Let's keep the phone calls short so that we can allow more people.
As I conclude, comrade, please be safe wherever you are. Be safe, be protected. We are dealing with criminals who don't want to see different visions, who don't want to see different people coming on board like you have done. So please be safe. God be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Please, let's respond to that call we received earlier on.
Mr. Fresh, thank you very much for your kind words, and I must assure you that the vision for this country will only be met if we as Zambians come together and work as one. We have preached unity right from the start, unity in the opposition, unity amongst citizens, and focus on national development, not focus on individuals or focus on any other thing. So we try by all means to concentrate on what we are going to do for the Zambians and not engage in politics of vengeance, politics of insults, or any other thing. Now, it is said that where ignorance is bliss, it's folly to be wise. And I say so because a lot of people have given in to the propaganda by the UPND as regards the repatriation of the remains of the former president and the role that I have played in this regard. I am not responsible for the repatriation of the body into Zambia. I am not responsible. The ones that took the matter to court is the government. The government had enabled a settlement. That is not my role. If that was my role, the argument would be different. Now, you have a government that always shifts its responsibility on others. And using propaganda, they hope to govern. So this rule by propaganda, or this trying to rule by propaganda, is not for governments. Propaganda, leave it to the opposition. You as government stick to truth, stick to integrity. This whole thing is just simply as a result of propaganda.
So when
Yes.
people like, you see this phone call that came, where people say, Makebi Zulu failed to bring the body. He failed to handle one small task. How is he hoping to handle the whole country?
And that is where we're saying that where ignorance is bliss, it is folly to be wise. Because ignorantly, they think my role is to bring the body. They think my role is to negotiate to bring the body. That is what is being pushed into everyone's mind. But I'm independent of that. My role is to tell you that these are the thoughts of the family, these are the wishes of the family, and what the family wishes for is a dignified burial. What the government is proposing does not satisfy them to be a dignified burial. I will communicate that. You in this industry, you know what a spokesperson is. A spokesperson does not present their own views.
No.
A spokesperson presents the views of those that they represent.
Yes.
And they do not participate in the decision-making process. They do not participate in that decision-making process. But what has happened in this particular case is that when government took the matter to court, they sued, including the spokesperson. They sued me as well.
They sued even
Yes, I was also sued in the High Court in South Africa. So you see that this misunderstanding of my role by the government has been spread even to the public, and they're the ones that have been spreading that. That is not my role. That is not my role.
So,
Yes.
like when you speak like that, from where I understand you when you come on the live, when you come on TV, you're simply relaying the message that has been given to you.
Certainly.
You are not saying anything that you want to say there.
No.
So if the family has said no to the next step, you're just simply coming and say, oh, the family has said no.
That is the position
It's
of the
not,
family.
it's not representing
It's
any
independent
of your
of
views.
my view.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So because this conversation has come up, there's a conversation that has been there for some time. My first question is it still the family's position that HH should not be anywhere near his predecessor's remains?
Well, right now I can tell you that when I was coming on this show, it was not anticipated that I would be speaking about that.
Yes.
Because it was not anticipated that I would be speaking about that.
Yes.
I did not consult the family whether it is an issue that I have to delve in.
Great.
I can only go to the extent of saying my role is this.
Yes.
As regards what the family view is, I did not get clearance to speak about that.
I hear
For
you.
that reason, I'm only emphasizing the point that my view in this matter does not matter.
Great. So
The
you
view
only
of the
talk
family-
when the family gives you
When
a
the
go-ahead.
family talks, I speak. When I'm going to come to a program such as this one, and you tell me we'll be talking about the family, I'll ask you, what do you want to know? Then I'll communicate. This is what they want to know. Then once I'm communicated to, I get to the show and tell you, this is what the family
Great.
said.
I'm
I do
gonna-
not have that clearance.
I hear you. Thank you very much, and I understand.
Thank you.
I'll ask you a general question that concerns you being a knowledgeable person, because you're a lawyer.
Yes, please.
Conversation around this has been that a state funeral, we can even have this conversation in a hypothetical scenario. A state funeral cannot be had minus the president attending in a case where a predecessor died. This is not me telling you, this is what I've gathered somehow in where I move around. Some people say a state funeral cannot go on minus the president attending the state funeral in a case where a predecessor died. So the commander-in-chief must attend for it to be a state funeral because, I'm trying to paraphrase and quote some things I hear, because there will be, the person who died has friends in higher places who will come to, some of them will be invited, others will request to attend the funeral, so they'll come. So the question has been, how do those other presidents come to attend the funeral and the current head of state is not at the funeral, he's probably at State House and the funeral is happening somewhere else? From your own understanding, in a hypothetical situation, we're not talking about the Lungu situation because you have not been given green light to talk about it.
It will be very difficult to speak of it in a very hypothetical situation. But I can ask you this. When Mwanawasa died, which president attended that funeral?
Because we had not yet elected.
When Sata died.
That was the incumbent who died.
That was the incumbent who died?
Yes.
When Sata died, which president attended that funeral?
When Sata died, he was the incumbent.
I'm
talking about like the predecessor.
And exactly, I'm telling you, you are
so
saying...
when the incumbent dies, you don't have an option of a sitting president.
You are saying you can't have it without a president. That is exactly what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And I'm giving you instances where we had it without a president. There was a person who was acting, superintending over the same. Now, the aspect of a funeral is a private matter primarily. And in this particular case, there are wishes that have been expressed. And wishes that have been expressed ordinarily ought to be respected. It happened in Zimbabwe. When President Robert Mugabe died, what was the case in that particular country? He did not attend, simply because the family said he should not attend. How many people have been given state funerals? Ministers die and they are given state funerals. Presidents don't necessarily have to attend all of them. They don't attend to all of them. Former ministers have died, and the president don't have to attend to all of them, and yet they are given state funerals. So we cannot say this is going to happen because the so-called commander-in-chief has to be there. This commander-in-chief is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, not commander-in-chief of funerals, of funerals. No. He's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So a representation, or indeed someone to represent government in that matter, can be allocated. But this is a matter, like I've told you, that I would be precluded from delving into the actual details.
I hear you.
But you asked it hypothetically, and I have answered it in a manner that I think really makes sense. And anyone who talks about it should be able to do what was done. In the case of Simon Mwansa Kapwepwe, we had Mlenga Kapwepwe on one of the shows, busy explaining how it ought to be done. We had Akashamba Mbikusitalewanika saying how it ought to be done. There are a lot of authorities that have commented on this particular matter, and those can be referred to for wisdom and guidance as to how this must be done. It's not a contestation as to who wins and who loses. And it has never been a contestation of who wins or who loses on the part of the family. It has just been about what will amount to a dignified burial.
Let's talk about
simply that.
Let's talk about in the past when you had when you were given a green light to talk about the funeral. All the funeral wanted was for the current president not to attend the funeral, and the body would have come, isn't it?
That was one of the conditions. One of
the conditions.
Yes.
Okay. You can give us a call. There are some numbers on the screen. You can give us a live call, and if you have any contributions or any questions for Council Zulu, you may come through. Hi there. Good morning. Hello. Hi there. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. You're live. Would like to know your name and where you're calling us from. Come again?
I am alive.
Yes, you are live. You are live. You are live. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is a young bike.
Goodness.
He said he has arrived.
Oh, he has arrived. Oh, yeah. Hi there.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're live. Would like to know your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Eugene.
calling you from diaspora. I know
Eugene, where exactly in the diaspora are you calling us?
Do I need to give details?
No, you don't need to. You don't need to. You may go on, please,
Yes,
Eugene.
thank you. I know Makebi is not comfortable talking about the Lungu, the issues.
Because as just mentioned, he has not been given clearance to talk about it on this show.
I know. So I'll just generalize. He wants to save the Zambians. As he asks Zambians what they want, because we've had 5 funerals in Zambia, and we know the tradition. The state funeral for the president, for the vice president, is conducted by the defense forces. The families, it's just a ceremonial thing that they come in, but all the details are done by the defense forces. So if you want to save the Zambians want ECO to be buried in Zambia. So how do you deny them that opportunity, all because of one man?
Who has denied them?
Sacrifice
Who has denied
Zambians
them?
all because of HH. No, you need to weigh the two.
Who?
The greater good is to save the Zambians. So
When you say how do you deny the Zambians, Council is asking who has denied the Zambians. If the family says we agree that our former president must be buried in Zambia, all we ask is that President HH agrees not to attend the funeral. What is the problem there?
No, you can't put up that. You can't put up that to say. I mean, you can't command to say he shouldn't attend. I mean, that's just confusion. Imagine if he doesn't attend, he's at home. How will the Zambians say you are disrespecting the president? No one will respect it. I'll give you a scenario in the Bible. In the book of Esther, when the queen rejected the request which was made by the king was advised to say, no, such a thing should not be allowed. This king should be removed. So you can't disrespect the president in that manner. I mean, should we hold on to Isio's remains for 5 months, or because HH shouldn't attend? Or we should stop him? No. We need to weigh which is more important, allowing HH to attend or barring ECL. Barring ECL is more important than HH attending. So even if HH attends, that is insignificant. What is important is to bury ECL. We can't keep him for over 5 months.
Mr. Eugene, I want to answer your question.
That is the more important thing.
Mr. Eugene, before you go, yes, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Eugene, just hold on.
Mr. Eugene, I want to answer your question, and I want to answer your question in a very honest way. But I need you to make this very clear. Do you know the term spokesperson?
Is the question? I can't hear.
Do you know
the term? Do you understand by the term?
Spokesperson. Do you know what it means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
To speak on behalf of.
Thank you very much. I will not answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eugene. Have yourself a wonderful day. Hi there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Irene. I wanted to have a contribution on the call program.
You said your name is who?
Irene.
Irene, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from London.
London, okay. You may go on, please, Irene.
Hello, good morning, moderator, and good morning, Mr. Makebi Zulu.
Good morning, ma'am.
My name is Irene Moore. I'm calling you from London.
Okay, you may go on, please, Irene.
My question to you is, we have a generation on the Copper Belt and the current Zambians that have missed out on a good life because of the closure of the mines. I worked on the Copper Belt, and I can give it a good story. What plans do you have for the mines? Because I visited Mofulera visiting family because I lived there, and it's a disaster. People are suffering. My main question is, what will you do for the mines? Because that's the breadbasket for the country. Thank you.
Irene, thank you so much. Council, just take note. Let's move on to the next call.
That's fine.
Hello, hi there.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Anonymous within Zambia.
Anonymous within Zambia. Anonymous,
Good morning,
you may please go on.
Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Sure. So my question, I just have 2 questions. So I wanted to find out, PF is under court right now. What will happen if the PF Lunan case continues being in court, meaning that it won't put through the ballot paper? Are you going to open your own political party, or you support another political opposition party in Zambia? And then the other question that I have is your presidential ambitions derived from the angles of Wisel's death? Thank you.
Thank you. If we can answer this question.
Yes, and to address that. So, The idea of seeking presidential office is in no way connected to the impasse. It is an offer for service to the Zambian people. I'm simply offering myself to say, I think I have what it takes to run the country. Following what has happened, following the manner in which we have been governed, and from my experience as a provincial minister, where I was running the whole province, and from what I have learned over the years, I think I'm able to offer this service to the Zambian people. Not being carried on anyone's back, but being my own person. Being my own person to say, these are my credentials, this is what I'm capable of, this is what I see the future of Zambia to be, a future of Zambia where governance is not by a matter of vengeance, seeing that the institutions of governance must be independent. We have to restore trust in our economy so that people are able to invest, and we must ensure that the economy benefits the Zambians. That has got nothing to do with any conflict that may be subsisting anyway. It has got nothing to do with that. What is it that the Zambians need? There's a very important question that has been raised here as regards the mines on the copper belt. What is it that we can do right to reinvigorate the economy of the copper belt, to derive the most benefits from our mines? Why is it that we have people that are participating in mining and they'll go on for 20 years and every year they keep posting not having made profits? There's something wrong. Otherwise they would have closed down, they would have left. But why is it that they're still here in the name of wanting to make profits? They're not making profits yet, year in and year out, they're still in. We need to interrogate this issue and deal with the issues of transfer pricing in the mining sector. We need to deal with the issues of participation of the locals in the mining sector. We need to deal with issues of there being a balance between what an investor gets and what our economy benefits from that. What is the local beneficiation of the people? What is the cry of the people in Senseli? They've been excluded from the resource which they think they ought to benefit from. And that is what we're saying we should be talking about. What is happening in the agricultural sector? Why have we mismanaged our food system in the country? Why is the cost of living so high? These are questions that are going to save the people of Zambia and not any conflict anywhere. And we are saying these are the questions that we need to address. And when we address these things, we'll enable the Zambians to live a better life. That is what we're looking at.
Yes. Earlier on, we talked about how many Zambians distrust political promises.
Yes.
How would you measure and report progress transparently if elected? And what penalties should exist for failure to meet public commitments?
Well,
so especially on the penalties.
Yes.
Do Zambians, apart from waiting for 5 years to vote you out, do Zambians have a way of punishing you if you're not delivering on the promises you made?
Currently, unfortunately, the only punishment you get is people losing trust in you and kicking you out in the next term. Because it is anticipated that within the tenure of 5 years, you'll have made substantial progress towards the fulfillment of what you promised to achieve. Now, it is not the issue of the systems failing, it is the issue of the leadership failing. And that is why we change leaders. That is why we change leaders. But then the leaders that we have put in place have gone to the extent of destroying the systems that should be working. They've gone to the extent of compromising the systems that should be working. What has this translated to? It has translated into a one-man show. And you can't rule this country on the basis of a one-man show. You can't be the reservoir of wisdom. You can't be the only person who thinks you are the most intelligent person in the room and only your ideas work. It is a rule by a committee. It's a rule by everyone else. What are the people saying they want? What are you doing to address the concerns of the people? Those are the discussions that we ought to be having.
Council, you are a top lawyer in the country. Do you think the current constitution gives the president too much power? And do you think that needs to be regulated somehow?
I think the current constitution makes room for the president to abuse his power. And abuse of power is not using the power properly. In this particular case, why is it that in the shortest period of time ever, we have seen the most judges being fired? This is a president who has fired the most judges than all the presidents combined. And that has tended to compromise the independence of the judiciary.
If you had a chance, would you support a constitutional review, and what are some of the things you would change?
If given that chance, the first order of business, you don't attach constitutional reviews to an election. You don't, as has been done as regards Bill 7. It is only being done to try and increase chances of remaining in power. That is the only reason. That is the agency that you see with which they want to move with Bill 7. And every well-meaning Zambian should be able to resist this temptation to amend the constitution at this point. Perhaps it should be the first order of business. What kind of governance system do we want? I'm of the view that we need to amend our constitution to the extent of having a human rights approach towards development, where development is given to the Zambian people, not as a favor, but as a right. We need the right to education being enshrined in our constitution, so that people do not show up and say, it's a favor that we're giving you free education. It should be as a matter of right that you are getting that education. It should not be a favor that you're being given clean and safe drinking water. It should be a right that you must have to say, I must have safe and clean drinking water. And that responsibility must be put on government to provide that. It should be a right that you must have access to decent housing. It should be a right that you must have access to food. So what are the social safety nets that we're going to put? And if we're going to put the social safety nets that are supposed to take care of our people, are we doing it as a favor or as a right to our people that everyone is supposed to live a decent life? Politics is about human decency. And if we forsake human decency, then we might as well not be in politics. And the law that we put in place is one that is intended to enhance human decency, not to take away from it. And that is what we should be doing. A human rights approach towards development is very important, meaning that we need to enhance the people's rights, not take away from those rights as this government has been trying to do. We need to amend not just the constitution in the parts that can be amended. We need to go for a referendum. How do we enhance the people's rights so that we can include the right to education, the right to health, so that when the government comes and builds a hospital, it's not a favor. They're building it because they're supposed to.
Let's add in the last round of calls. Yes. Hi there. Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Great, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Chingola. My name is Steven.
Mr. Steven from Chingola, please make your contribution as quick as possible. Hello?
Yes. I want to ask 2 questions to Mr. Zulu.
Go on, please.
First thing I can say, if I have been told to vote today, I can vote for UPND. For the reason is, because I don't want them to come and say, oh, these are the ones who made these things to happen. So the 2 question is, what is the solution to these power issues that we are having, Mr. Makebi? And another one, to all the presidents sector. I thank you.
What is your other question? Yeah, I think he's actually gone. Yes. Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Schuster.
Good morning, thank you. You're live. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Matthew within Lusaka.
Matthews, go on, please. Okay.
Okay, let's deal with the power issue.
Let's pick the last one. Hi there. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. You're live. Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Matthews.
Matthews, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you from Kawata.
Okay, Matthews, please go on and talk to the PF aspiring candidate.
Mr. Makebi, Honorable, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. How are you?
Hello?
Go on, please. It's okay. Please go on with your contribution.
Okay, what I want to say is that PF is a democratic party of where democratic views are respected and upheld. So what I want to put across is that even as we can have, there are a lot of differences that are there in the party. But once the convention is held and the leader is chosen, certainly peace is going to be instilled in a lot of people. So all we are waiting for is for the convention. Then I want to see Honorable Makebi to stand on that position as a president for the PF, because he's coming from a background of where he doesn't have any vengeance against anyone. All he wants is to install democracy. For as you know that his background is from that of a lawyer. Lawyers have never disappointed us in this country. They have ruled this country, putting in mind that it's a democratic nation and people's views are respected. So I want to say thank you for hosting Makebi Zulu, and even the way he's articulating issues. I think a well-meaningful Zambian must be able to say, indeed, there's too much wisdom in Honorable Makebi Zulu. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable producer says we pick up this call. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Great, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Teska calling from Matero.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Teska calling from Matero.
Mr. Teska.
Yes.
Go on, please talk to council.
Hello?
Please go on, We're listening to you.
Okay, good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Zulu.
Good morning, Mr. Teska.
All right, good. Okay, it's just a simple advice that from this conversation, it's just a simple advice to you, opposition. Please, this time around, already you have favor from us, the people who are suffering in this country. Out of this conversation, what I can just advise you, opposition, you get united and please work on the security of votes. You have to make sure that you have security so that that time when it comes, at least people will secure the votes, because we have criminals under UPND who are cadres. They are not even cadres, they are hardcore criminals. So if you want to secure the votes, we people, we are ready to vote for you, opposition. But if you don't have security to secure the votes, then you will cry, you will let us down when that time comes. So this is what I can just advise you, Mr. Zulu, to be hot. Thank you.
Thank you. If we can start with this one.
Yes, let's start with this one.
Is there a plan to secure the votes?
This is very important, and it is the responsibility of every Zambian to protect their right to vote. The reason we vote is to choose a leader, and to subvert that right, to do anything else that seems to take away that right to vote, and that your vote be reflected as it has been put, is actually a crime against the state. That is sabotaging the state. That should be a treasonous act, because you are going to have an illegitimate government. What gives any government legitimacy is the vote. So the right to protect the vote is on the shoulder of each and every Zambian. It is not just for the opposition. We need to take necessary measures. Make sure that the monitors that are there are well aware of what they're doing in those particular polling stations. Make sure that all the attendees in there, all political parties, have their people who are educated well enough to know exactly what is going on in a polling station. That is going to be very important, because that is part of the democracy that we have chosen for ourselves, and we need to protect it by any means necessary. The desire to steal votes or to rig an election is undemocratic in essence, and it amounts to a coup on the rights of the people, and that should not be the case. And we hope that there are no such plans. But even if those plans are there, they will not succeed, because we shall have a watchful eye over the next election. And there was a question of power, and I keep referring to this. The time we were in government, we tried to set up or to decentralize how power is produced. For example, we put up Lesoasi Dam in Central Province. This was intended to take care of the power for Central and Mchinga provinces. Iteshi Power Generation Plant was intended to supply power to the Southern Province, Western Province, and part of Central Province. We had the Katete Wind Energy Project, which was intended to supply power to the Eastern Province. And the Chongwe Nuclear Power Plant, which is there, we trained people to run it. That nuclear power plant, the whole project came to a standstill. That was supposed to provide power for Lusaka and other areas. And if we had done so, we know that industry would have kept running. We had the Kabompo Power Plant project. This was meant to supply power to Northwestern Province. We had the Luapula Power Project, intended to supply power to Luapula and Northern Provinces. Then the Shiwa Hydropower upgrade from Mchinga Province. We had these projects that were supposed to provide power to Mchinga Province. Now, Dangote even comes and even tells us how to use our resources. He says, listen, you have coal in this country in abundance. Why don't you set up thermal power projects? And I can tell you that if we decided today to say we're going to set up a thermal power project, within a space of 3 years, the thermal power project will be up and running. And the costs of that will obviously have to be recovered from that very project. We have sufficient resources to be able to invest in power and recover, and be able to recover and have all industries running. Because if you kill your industry by reason of absence of power, you kill the economy. And that was put succinctly by Dangote when he visited the president. I only hope that some wisdom was gotten out of that speech. And that is how we intend to address.
There's a question I want to play,
yes,
but before I get there, because of the internet right now,
yes,
people will be able to voice out, and some voices will say things that you do not agree with.
Yes.
Once elected, how are you going to protect free speech whilst also keeping dangerous information, especially in the media space?
To start with, this Cybersecurity Act that was enacted needs to go. It must go. Because it goes over and above the issue of securing free speech. The Cybersecurity Act that was before, the predecessor Cybersecurity Act, was intended and pointed at issues of bullying over the internet. This one goes further to keep free speech. It goes further to invade your privacy. As a matter of fact,
you mean the one that was intended by the predecessor is different from the one that was enacted?
It's very different, because this one now, they have the right to get into your phone. They have the right to be listening in to this conversation right now using your phone. It gives them that power. They have the right to say whatever storage that you have that is IT related, you must be able to give government access to that, to the storage of that information. Any information that you have, you must be able, if you're going to have any storage facility of any information, they must have the ability to hack. They are telling you when you put CCTV in your private home, they want to be able to access your CCTV. You have to tell them the model of the equipment that you're using. You have to, and all that are so intrusive. It will be difficult for any person to come and invest in ICT in Zambia because of that, of the cyber laws that we have put in place.
When you get back power, you're abolishing the...
Just throw it in the bin altogether.
Okay, there's a voice note I want us to play from Brian Matambo from within Lusaka.
This big contribution. So, good morning. I just want to make a quick contribution. So, these people that are calling and demanding that Council Makebi Zulu should bury ECL, in a way, I think we are being very unfair, because I believe that even Makebi Zulu himself would like to see this issue come to a conclusion. Unfortunately, There is the case of Hakainde Hichilema not being present at that funeral. And people are ignoring that and putting the pressure on a man who's merely a spokesperson is very interesting to observe, actually, because I think we're missing the point. So what I would like to suggest, really, is that we look at what the facts are. Makebi Zulu is a spokesperson, and let's support him in that role. And let's support the family in what they are standing for. Because as a matter of fact, the family insisted that they would like former President Edgar Chavalumo to be buried in a certain manner in the absence.
So, Council, before I let you go, and time is really, running out. In a situation where the Chavinga faction holds on to the papers, especially at the registrar of office, and it's time to file in, are you switching camps? Are you opening? Are you creating a new political party? Are you joining another political party? In a case, in a scenario where the Chavinga camps holds on to them being the bona fide owners of the PF.
As a Patriotic Front party, we are resolved. We are resolved that in the next election, we are going to participate. We are going to participate primarily on the PF party. In the meantime, we will continue to mobilize our structures. We will continue to mobilize our people. If democracy is denied to the Zambian people in the manner that it's being denied, to an extent where the Patriotic Front Party is not on the ballot, I will tell you that Patriotic Front Party is beyond the paper that may be kept by any person, whether Chavinga or any person. Patriotic Front Party is a movement of people. And wherever this movement is going to say we'll move in this direction, we shall move as one. So Patriotic Front Party as a movement is not being disadvantaged in any way. But the attempt to kill democracy by keeping the documentation that is supposed to enable us to participate under the name Patriotic Front Party is not something that goes to the core of disturbing the membership of the Patriotic Front Party, or indeed the citizenry. So all options are on the table. We'll keep those options of Zambia is laid aside, and to a place where we focus on developing the Zambian people. And we are going to do this if we concentrate on the right sectors of our economy. We need to improve in the mining sector. We need to improve in the agricultural sector. We need to lower the cost of living in our nation. We need to ensure that our cooperative movement benefits the people of Zambia. We need to ensure that our laws protect us, the people of Zambia. We need to restore democracy. We need to restore the respect of for human rights. We need to restore the rule of law. We need to ensure that institutions of governance are independent. The manner in which we appoint people like the police inspector general needs to be relooked at. We need to ensure that the office of the ombudsman is independent and reports directly to Parliament the way we said they should. We need all this to be made functional. The office of the ombudsman must be made functional so that accountability is number one on the agenda. Integrity must be preserved. Corruption must be gotten rid of. And we will have a fair and just society whose institutions of government serve the interests of the Zambian people, protect the Constitution, respect the Constitution. That is the kind of government that we should be looking forward to. We need to get rid of politics of vengeance and insults. We need to get rid of politics of oppression and have a united front. We need to have a united country. Not on regional lines, not on anything else, but because we are one Zambia and one nation.
I'm smiling because I've looked at something I should have brought up a long time ago. You know, you seem to have earned yourself a name Malukula. among your critics. Does that, does that bother you?
Maybe it's intended to mean that we have come to put a stop to the misrule by the UPND. And so we shall embrace it.
With the what?
We shall embrace it.
With the what?
With the
Put a
proper,
stop with the what?
with the proper hammer. With the proper hammer that ends the misrule of UPND. And we have a big hammer, and we're not afraid to use it.
I know.
So we shall use it and use it effectively, because our job is to serve the Zambian people and give them a country that they've always desired to have. It beats me these days. When I call someone, they say, come to WhatsApp, come to WhatsApp. And when you're talking on WhatsApp, I'm looking forward to a time when we'll be able to talk freely over the phone, not thinking that someone is listening into our conversation. Even if they listened into the conversation, they should be able to say, I will protect their right to say whatever they are saying, because democracy is a marketplace of ideas. And ideas are born in the mind and expressed through the mouth, or indeed the pen. So we need to protect that right of our people.
Kaso, I'd like to thank you so much for making time for the people of Zambia this morning and partly this afternoon.
Thanks for having me on your show.
And of course, we appreciate everything that has been said and of course your time for the people.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've been hosting PF presidential aspirant, Council